Okay, welcome to our webinar, IBIS Innovation Days Top Innovations 2018. Just before we directly start some organizational information, this webcast will be recorded. All registrants will receive a link including the slides a couple of days after the session. This means ASAP, as soon as possible, to repeat or to have a look once again in the session, or maybe to forward to a colleague. If there are questions from your side, please type in, and we will try to get all of the questions to answer at the end of the session. Just two more announcements regarding upcoming events. So maybe you know, next week there will be Sapphire in Orlando. We will be there with a booth 189B, and we as well have a roundtable discussion on the 5th of June about SAP Solution Manager Integration 7.2. And there's another event, a SAP Insider event in Prague at the end of June, from 27th to 29th of June. There we have 3 speaking slots with the topics in the Solution Manager and S4HANA area. If you're attending either of those, we hope to see you. But thanks for attending today's webinar, IBIS Innovation Days Top Innovations 2018. My name is Stefan Streller, and I'm a director and co-founder of IBIS Professor Thome. Within IBIS, I am responsible for the non-US business development and as well for the partner management, and I'm happy to be here to present today's webinar. Be sure that I not wear a tie today, and proudly present my colleague. Now, do you wear a tie today, Heiko?
Hi, Stefan. Hello, everybody. No, no tie today. Will be a hot day, and since my days in Germany, I'm not wearing ties too often anymore. I'm one of the co-founders of IBIS America. Have been involved with SAP Solution Manager for a long time, since 2001. And you see, my background is financials here as well. And together with Stefan, we will talk about some of the top innovations for 2018, what has been done, and what is planned for the rest of the year.
Great. So especially that's what you told, as a tool provider, a service provider using tools, it is always very important to know in which direction SAP is moving and, of course, what customers' requirements are. Now we would like to present what we have made of it today. It's a short overview and a selection of the topics like information regarding the innovation days or the visualization. We will have a short look, or let's say the indirect usage will one topic, or Solution Manager 7.2, for example. At the Innovation Days, we've been informed about some topics regarding the RB Plus technology, and especially as well the RB Plus content. For example, data extraction, visualization, or S4HANA impact and cloud potential. Heiko, would you share some of them with us, and which topic impressed you the most?
Absolutely. I think our visualization has improved quite a bit. That was something I was looking forward to for quite some time. We extract a lot of data points, obviously, from your system, and now we have really an easy to use and way better functionality to display those results. I like that a lot. And obviously, we are very successful together, with our partners and SAP in the SAP Star Plus program. That's also very exciting.
The visualization was my topic as well. Yes, I was impressed.
Absolutely, yeah. Now it's easy to use, and getting to the details better. And with the visualization, we also have now the web front end, and we're using stories to summarize the results. All of those topics displayed on that slide are really interesting. Shared server, center analysis, for example. We'll not go in all of those topics, but we'll focus on a few, like Solution Manager and compliance, and we'll try to connect the different dots for the audience.
Great. So
I think
right, it's up to you.
Thanks, Stefan. Yeah, you know, some of you already have worked with us in the past, and you know what we call now the classic PC-based browser, which you see on the bottom left here on the screen, and you still have the option to get your results PC-based, and then you can do your analysis. The features are there. We included also some of the newer technology, and some of you might have worked with the specifically with the S/4HANA analysis, which is available in the cloud. It was available on the Amazon Web Services, and those results are rightfully available through the cloud because we can use the Fiori app technology. But one of the changes here is that we have now one common platform, which are hosted in our data center in Würzburg, Germany, and it's one access where you now can see all the results. You still have the option, to have it locally and then not in the cloud. At least most of the information, the S/4HANA system assessment and the process assessment really requires, that Fiori support, which you obviously could also implement in-house. But the alternative would be, our web-based browser. Yeah, Stefan and I, we talked about a better visualization. You will see that throughout, the different topics. And we also have worked on the Orbi Plus knowledge base. I think that's also, very interesting. Obviously, we have lots of documentation. We have PDF documents. You have webinars, obviously, and lots of instructions. But visualizing that better and providing videos is very near to us. And here you see many statistics, and of course some of them are in German, which doesn't make it easier. But it's still confusing, different ways of showing results. And we also thought of a way of presenting our information better. And I will quickly send you the screen print here, but I will also go live into a demonstration where we use Fiori-like or UI5-like front ends and graphics to display our information better. And it lets you basically analyze the data on the fly. So if I'm moving over to our RB Plus results in the web-based browser, you might see some of the scorecards and graphics and matrices, which are maybe pretty familiar to you. We have customizing, how many document types are used in finance. We have a little further up the trend and usage profile, what document types are used in how many different org units. And in the end, you can drill down into the details and then see the document types and how many org units use that document type. That's all well, and it's needed for detailed analysis. One of the examples I wanted to present, what we call that bubble chart technology, is that obviously we can use that information and real time you can hover over certain data points and you see the heavy hitters here, right? Material movements are used every month of the year. Different quantities, obviously. There are some smaller areas. And then once you change, over to a different data point, you see on the bottom and the right-hand side, your display changes as well. So this is some of the newer functionality we are trying to use to display our information better and, to tell a story. Okay, what's really important, what's not that important, what areas should we focus on.
Bubble charts, it's a funny name, yes.
Exactly. I'm not sure if that's a technical term, but yeah. And as you see, I mean, some of the stuff, obviously, it's mid 2018 already. We developed, as you can see, we updated our front end. It's web-based. We support new features in our standard analytics. We'll talk about a compliance analysis later on, and the S/4HANA assessment as well as Solution Manager. So overall, we are working on the new design, providing more information, better explanations for you, interactive analytics. That's just what we saw. And, we're developing additional content, which I also will show you in a little bit for S/4HANA, SAP Cloud, Ariba, for example, and then, those process variants, which we display rule-based now. Yeah, and the other element here is the RB Plus knowledge base. Here you see our CTO Andreas Hufgott, one of the co-founders of IBIS, and in our portal we'll basically present information to different topics that can be very operational, like data deduction, extraction, and infrastructure. Or a little bit from a content perspective, information security and privacy, where we provide additional information, and we will link that back to our front end. Yeah, the discussion is out there, right? GDPR, sensitive information. There are specific regulations in Europe. And our idea to that is, specifically to reduce the data we have access to. If we don't extract data, we don't need to worry so much about, keeping it contained and archiving and deleting it. And we use, the data avoidance also in other aspects to focus on specific topics. So the IBIS approach is not, to get as much data as we can from your system. We are very specific and very focused on what we really need. The question is, what is best data extraction, right? So, how to make vanilla extract? What do we need to consider? And for our purposes, we thought that we have a really broad audience. RB Plus, our tool and our approach can be used for many different project scenarios. So we need to be more flexible, and focus on the requirements. Obviously, it takes some time to download or to extract the data. So we're trying to improve the runtime, and we also have other requirements. We work with partners. They use our tool for financial audits, and we need to be certified. We are ISO certified. Our ABAP extractor is also certified, for example. So those are some of the, topics which have driven us really, the last couple of years. And one of the outcome here is that we also now support, different scenarios from an analysis perspective, meaning, you can have our analysis as we've done it in the past. That's our core RB Plus analysis. And then, we add additional content and additional services in the premium packages, more statistics, maybe more sophisticated statistics, which are not self-explanatory, where you need maybe some training, some handover. But we wanted to have RB Plus easy to consume. So that's the core RBE analysis. And then for more advanced users, if you will, the premium package.
So this means we are much more scalable, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's, you don't need to extract everything. You don't need to do everything. So on the bottom right, as Stefan has indicated, now we can focus on certain end-to-end processes. If your system, has, maturely supply chain management, then maybe we focus on procure to pay and order to cash, and the other areas we don't focus on. Yeah, we extract a lot of data, obviously, from your system as always, and we have the details. But we had requirements where we obviously need to summarize that information, where we take samples, and then we need to display it. And specifically for our financial audits, which we'll do with PwC, in the financial area. We provide those statistics. We aggregate the information intelligently. So give me actionable information. Don't bury me in data. I want to know those 10 KPIs. So obviously, we summarize it. Maybe we provide top 100 indicators here. The details are still there. You can drill down to them, but we want to provide what's really important at first glance.
Great. And one of the real hot topics at the moment, yes, is indirect usage. Can RB Plus support customer in this area, Heiko?
Absolutely. We always supported our customers, in the compliance area with our license analysis. I attended an ASUG webinar actually last week about the new pricing model, which is interesting and it's optional, right? You have the common user license price list, but now SAP also offers you for specifically for indirect usage to focus on number of documents and stuff like that. So what we do specifically in that area, we take a look at what's really going on in the system, what kind of users are accessing the system, what are they doing in the system, and those could be named users like dialog users. Here in this example, you also see that some users have been active on the bottom right, 1,320, which are no longer in the user master data record. So that's probably something we should take a look at. Are users deleted, or are some interface users accessing the system, which are temporary and not in the user master data. We also take a look, obviously, at the activities of those users, and from the high-level statistics, user master, valid in the system, and logged and so forth. You can drill down into the details and see the user IDs and the user names, and then in the next step, we would take a look at, okay, what are those users really doing in the system? Are they, executing transactions, programs? Are they changing or creating documents and master data? And we can even drill further down, into, okay, what kind of documents have they created, and what kind of master data, to really give you the details, for your analysis and your negotiation with SAP regarding user licenses, and then figuring out what's the best option for you. We've always obviously taken a look at number of sales documents and purchase orders and stuff like that. So that information is also available, and we also focus here on the interfaces. What kind of interfaces are there? You see here also we take a look at usage of third-party tools which are integrated into your ERP environment in these examples. Do you have BAPIs? What's your IDOC communication? The different RFC calls and whatnot. And we also support now the usage and procedure logging for a while, and also the SEMON, which are basically two new log files in the SAP system, which provide us more information than the classic STO3 and workload statistics.
Great. So now I think we're coming to the SAP Solution Manager, right? So there was a successful project a couple of months ago. We did directly just in the area where I'm living. What exactly did IBIS do for this company, Frankenguss? And how was Frankenguss supported, Heiko?
Yes. We will talk about Frankenguss, as you already mentioned, a little bit more in detail in our roundtable discussion at Sapphire. But Frankenguss was our customer, and they basically started with a greenfield implementation of SAP Solution Manager 7.2. So they didn't use Solution Manager 7.1 intensively before, and they didn't have an existing documentation. And as you know, with Solution Manager 7.2, we have a, basically pretty new functionality for solution documentation. SAP is offering, new and different functionality. And the goal for Frankenguss was basically to establish that application lifecycle management strategy. And, we basically what they wanted was a documentation of their current as is. They had two ERP systems which we needed to take a look at. And, to accomplish that, we basically scanned and analyzed their system, took a look at, the processes, their customization, and created a process model for them. And a few slides later, I will have, an example here as well to show you the details. From a high-level perspective, that's basically what we did. So we had, two separate ERP systems, Frankenguss was really interested in using Solution Manager more. They also wanted to be HANA ready. Eventually, they would like to harmonize or consolidate those two systems. There are also some mandatory requirement, in Germany, to document certain aspects, and customers are asking questions. So all of that led Frankenguss towards SAP Solution Manager, and we analyzed their system. You can see the different data points. We extracted. They had UPL active, which helped us a lot, and then established that documentation in SAP Solution Manager. And the documentation basically looks like this in SAP Solution Manager 7.2. As you know, or you probably know, Solution Manager 7.2 now supports the library concept. So we basically established the library, and the library is really useful because it has reusable objects, but it doesn't really help you, I would say, that much or at all, with creating or modeling your end-to-end processes. And our approach at this point is to utilize SAP best practices. You see that here, in the middle of the screen, where we are using, the best practice content. So 1BS, BKN, that all comes from SAP, and we utilize the content from SAP. So it's basically future-proof, because we also cover S/4HANA. But obviously, a lot of our customers, they're still on ERP, on ECC 6.0, for example, and that's something IBIS also modeled into the best practice content. So the IBIS content can be used for ECC and S/4HANA users.
Yes, but we enriched this content. Yes, am I right?
Oh, heavily, yes. The best practice content is kind of a template. It's a starting point, right? You can use it, and there's lots of good content available. But best practices, those best practices are targeted towards S/4HANA. And in order to help our ECC customers, we needed to enhance it also with the current ECC functionality. And the best practices don't cover everything either. I mean, it's a template, it's a starting point. So for some areas there's a lot of content. For other areas there's not that much.
Okay, thanks. Right.
Yeah. So we had to change our strategy a little bit. From 7.1. In 7.1 we had the business process repository from SAP. Now looking at the life cycle of ERP, and S/4HANA, I think it's a good idea to take a look at S/4HANA and then be HANA ready, like Frankenguss wanted to be.
Okay, Star Plus or Substar Plus. So it sounds like RB Plus. Yes. What's behind this expression or this words Star and Plus and SAP, Michael?
Yes, a while ago, together with our partner SAP, we developed, a service-based approach to S/4HANA, and I don't know exactly, the reasoning behind that name SAP Star Plus, but it probably was, targeted towards RB Plus, combining, what methods and tools SAP has. And STAR stands for System Transformation via Assessment and Realignment. And it's a service from SAP, and SAP also works with partners to give customers detailed insights into S/4HANA. What does it take, to migrate to S/4HANA? Maybe there are some discussions around greenfield implementations and whatnot. And we are not only working with SAP in this space. As you can see, I borrowed a slide from our partner DXC, who we are working with also for quite some time on S/4HANA transformations. And basically, we want to overcome, those roadblocks or the decision points, which slow down customers, to move to S/4HANA. I like this slide a lot, because those are some of the topics, definitely not all of them, but a few very important ones, which we need to have answers for our customers to move to S/4HANA. And, there are different options to utilize S/4HANA. There are also there have been some changes also of SAP to move to S/4HANA, and some of them are more technical. Some are more process related. In the end, we need a solid business case to move to S/4HANA. What's the implication? And there are several services and tools out there from many partners. And with STAR Plus, we try to combine, basically, the best of breed concept, and then combining different tools and approaches. And I think what makes SAP STAR Plus really unique is that we not only focus on the technical aspects. I mean, there are lots of tools out there from SAP, the readiness check, for example, which take a look at technical requirements. Obviously, everybody expects performance improvement from S/4HANA. What does it mean for the business? What can we improve? In a day of a life for the business users. Where's the impact? And with this STAR program, we provide the details. It's very comprehensive, and it's very business focused as well.
For which type of customers it is interesting, this SAP Plus initiative? For every customer?
Well, it depends a little bit on the customer, obviously, but I think our target group is SAP customers who use SAP maybe 5 to 7 years. They're using it for some time because we analyze their system. And means some of them might be already on a HANA database. They're not on S/4HANA yet. Some have immediate plans, some have long-term plans. So I would think, for every customer who's using SAP, to a very good degree for a couple of years, it should be in their best interest to take a look at the system and to get HANA ready. Whether they are moving to S/4HANA tomorrow or in 5 years doesn't really matter. We can start preparing for it.
Okay.
And we started, Stefan, I think we started probably 4 or 5 years ago, back in the day with HP and now DXC to develop that approach, and we were also working with SAP and the SAP development team there, and obviously we learned a lot in that process. And initially we were starting out with a more technical assessment. We call it now the HANA system assessment, which take a look at data aging and archiving. And we don't really want to replace the readiness check or other approaches there. We want to complement them and provide additional information. And we as IBIS, we have the advantage that we are very agile. We don't have 90,000 employees, and everybody needs to agree on something. So we can focus on certain aspects. We are also not bound to some of the hurdles SAP, for example, is facing. We can take a look at users and user IDs, which I think is very important from an impact assessment. And so we started with the system assessment, and now for probably a year or so, we are also offering the process assessment, which moves away from the technical consideration and shows the processes and the content from SAP. And we also enhanced our offering towards the impact analysis for the core ERP functionality, but also we're looking at Ariba, for example, and digital supply chain management, where we point out quick wins, and low-hanging fruit. And SAP is really excited about it. The customers are really excited about it, and obviously we are as well, because this way we can really uncover the synergies which can be accomplished moving to S/4HANA or towards the HANA suite products. And I have a few slides now with some examples. Stefan and I, we've given webinars around S/4HANA, so please feel free to take a look at what's out there. Today I want to focus a little bit more on the business impact. And some of you might remember that scorecard in the PP area. And what we do is basically we highlight, we have traffic lighting here for things which are maybe not going according to best practices. There are some overdue production orders for delivery completed or technical closure. The scrap ratio is relatively high, and if an expert looks at that, then they will dig deeper. They will ask some questions. And by doing so, you might discover that there is some functionality missing. There's some custom code which doesn't really work according to SAP best practices. We can take that information and map it towards S/4HANA, but also towards other offerings like digital supply chain management. Maybe the customer is already using MII or ME. And we're taking a look at the full scope of what's available. And some of our customers they started with digital supply chain management. They are not on S/4HANA yet, but by using some of those features out of the extended supply chain management area, they could make a business case, and they're starting to save money even before they are on S/4HANA. And we also show here the process functionality. This customer is using repetitive manufacturing, and there's integration to APO. You might have heard that SAP has now another product or offering in the PP planning area, integrated business planning, IBP. But from that result here, we're looking at repetitive manufacturing. If you're drilling down a little further, then you see, okay, yes, we have repetitive manufacturing, but it looks like, there's also, something available for discrete industry. And, we show you some statistics, and you can mouse over them, how many scenarios are there, how many transactions, how many Fiori apps. So it looks like, discrete production is used as well from a process overview perspective. But then when you drill down into the details, you see, well, not really. It looks like, some of the transactions are used, but, not the ones which are really important. And I think, that process flow, that the process graphic answers also a lot of questions, and helps the SAP team, to, or the system integrator team to provide some suggestion. But it also, is good from an end user perspective, to see, okay, what functionality is there, what's covered in S/4HANA, where do we kind of still have the old transactions that just look newer, but in the end, the change isn't that significant in that particular area. Yeah, and last but not least, we take a look at the simplification items and the innovation items. In this example, the customer is using LIS quite heavily, and what we found out in our analysis, looking all those statistics, that they're using a lot of custom programs in that area. They're manually loading planning data, which then explains some other anomalies in the system usage. And LIS is not really recommended anymore with S/4HANA, and there's better SAP standard functionality. So very easily you can drill down into those details, take a look at the number of users and the functionality which is no longer supported, and then start your initiative, and then start talking to people, start the organizational change management topic process, talk about authorizations, training, and so forth.
Great, Heiko. There was a lot of information on all these sheets you showed us today. I think this was all we've prepared at the moment, and we can go directly to, let's have a look at the questions, and there are some questions. The first question is, how can I get in touch with SAP regarding the Substar Plus program? I would recommend to come to Sapphire.
Well, Sapphire is definitely a very good event, to take a look at SAP Star Plus. We have a couple customers presenting there in roundtable discussions. Lockheed Martin and Armstrong Industries will be there. We're working with the client partners at SAP. Most of the AEs know about SAP Star Plus. So, Sapphire is a good event. Obviously, you can contact us. We are working with Wendy Wilson from SAP, and we can guide you towards the right people to talk to.
Okay, there is another question regarding SAP Solution Manager. How long does such a SAP project, Solution Manager project, you presented? What about the time frame, Heiko?
Yes, in general, when we don't know much about a customer, and the customer is interested in analyzing the system, and maybe working with Solution Manager, we would say it's probably a 10-week process. Really high estimate, ballpark number. It could go a little faster. It might also take a little bit longer. But we're talking about weeks and not months, and we try to reduce the impact and the time needed from your resources by the tool-based approach, and then we work together. We have highly skilled resources who've worked with 7.1 and 7.2, and business process experts, which really accelerate the process in connection with our tools.
Okay, thank you. There's one more question regarding these S/4HANA assessments. There, on one of the slides, I saw you cover Ariba, and there's a question: will you cover success factors of further cloud products too?
Yes, that is in our roadmap. I think we are pretty much done with Hybris at this point. We've covered Ariba, we've covered digital supply chain management. I think next up is success factors, and then we have to see maybe Concur and other products will follow. But Hybris, to my knowledge, is pretty much done. Should be available end of the month. Ariba is already available for some time, and we will cover other products from SAP. Obviously, it's supply and demand, right? So what's asked for by our customers and SAP, but those are the plans at this point.
Okay, there's no more question at the moment. Thank you very much, Heiko. Yes, thank you very much for attending the webinar. We hope it was beneficial for you. feel free to contact us with additional questions. We are here to help you. Maybe have a look at Sapphire next week. We'll post the slides and the recording on our website as soon as possible, and we'll provide the link to all attendees. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at IBIS America, or on LinkedIn, yes, or on Facebook. And on behalf of IBIS, thank you and have a great day. Thank you very much, Heiko.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. See you next week, and
Yes.
have a good week. Yeah, bye.
Yes, thanks. Bye.